say, for those who are like live here with us, but also for those who will join a little bit later, that you are free to share with me any questions or your own kind of ideas. You might have like your own kind of suggestions and best practices throughout this presentation, or even later on when I will actually contact you to share the slides, to share the replay. But also feel free to let me know at any point if you need any clarifications on this presentation or any of the tips and hacks I will share with you today. So now a little bit about our today webinar. So it's a series, part of a series of webinars that we organize for our community, our HR community, based in the UK, but also in London, in the UK, but also in Greece. So we work with companies based in the UK and based in Greece. And throughout the years, we have built an amazing community. So I know that work-life balance has been a buzzword, has been used so often lately. So to me, a work-life balance means you just have time, you just have the right headspace and resources to prioritize what's important to you in your personal and professional life. So today my intention is, guys, to share with you some of the practices that we have seen time and time again be really beneficial for companies we work with. A little bit about our agenda. So we're going to discuss key challenges, some of the best practices, and hopefully there will be some time for Q&A at the end. Now, a little bit about the housekeeping, right? So as I said before, our presentation today will be recorded. So if you don't want to be with your cameras on, you don't want to be recorded, you can be with your cameras off or on, it's completely up to you. But the presentation today will be recorded because we had a time, last minute change in time of our webinar. So we had many of our participants who actually requested the replay. They were not able to attend live. So for those participants, I will share this replay and the slides at the end, but also with all of you, if you want access, just let me know. The second thing I want to mention is that feel free to interrupt me, guys, pop some questions in the chat, but also feel free to share your own tips and experiences. Now, my intention for the today webinar, as always, is to be a forum where we actually exchange ideas and actually help each other. It's not a one-way thing. Now, a little bit about the topic today. We see that in 2024, achieving work-life balance goes beyond simply closing our laptop at 5 p.m. It's interesting because there is a very recent study which shows that among 2,000 UK employees, 93% of them said that work-life balance was critical for good overall well-being. 67% said they were unable to keep their work-life boundaries. To me, this is an alarming number. If 67% of our employees are struggling with that, that means that a great majority of our staff, they are actually at risk of burnout. They're constantly stressed and anxious. They might not know how to manage their time effectively. So in essence, what I have personally see time and time again is that those companies that actually champion work-life balance, they are the ones that are chosen by talented employees, and they can keep their employees, they can keep their talent, they can attract and remain talent, which is great. So for those of you who don't know me, and for those of you who will see the presentation later on, just to introduce myself, I'm Alexandra, the CEO and founder of Oxygen and Urban Yoga Lab. Since 2019, I help HR leaders supercharge employee well-being, become an employer of choice. And as a corporate well-being architect, I have helped more than 50 kind of Fortune 500 companies like Wells Fargo, RBC, Hilton, to support their employees' well-being. Have been a keynote speaker in 25 summits and conferences. And our work has been featured by Forbes, Raconteur, Relocate Magazine, and many, many other huge platforms. Speaking of platforms, a little bit about Oxygen. Today, all the practices I will be sharing with you are actually the result of the work we do on our platform, on our Oxygen platform. So it's a health and wellness body that fits inside your employees' pockets, removes all the hassle from employee well-being planning, vendor sourcing, events recommendation, booking payments, the whole process. So it supports holistically when it comes to well-being and mental health. And with this platform, your employees get access to 250 live and on-demand events across 10 categories, all delivered by 200 top award-winning TEDx speakers, Olympian athletes, doctors, professors in different fields. So a little bit, just a few of our clients that we have served before, and a white paper. So my first gift for the day to you is I'd love to give you access to our white paper, which was recently featured on Forbes. It's a white paper on future of work. We did this white paper in collaboration with big organizations like Standard Chartered Bank and so many others. So you can actually scan this QR code and you can download it and get full access to it. So part of the best practices I'll be sharing with you today come from the findings we got on this white paper. Now, before I get started with work-life balance, it's interesting, guys, because recently we did a poll within our HR community, and we have seen that something very interesting. What I found really interesting in this poll is I asked HR leaders to share with me how many days per week do their employees typically work from home. And what I found really, really interesting is that 23% said that they, 25%, they said that they work from the office full time. Now, I don't know if you, whether you would agree with me or not, but I feel like giving the opportunity, giving the option to our employees to work remotely a few days per week, it's super important when it comes to the work-life balance. And let's be honest, working from home 2 or 3 days a week can be super beneficial for an employee because they can cook their own meal, they can use the lunch break to go on a long run or to go on a short yoga session. They can, do some houseworks before and after. They don't need to commute. So all those things contribute to a great work-life balance. So it's really important to, I feel like it's really important to get this right, because if 75% of companies, according to this poll, offer this option, imagine an employee who has both options available: work from the office full time or work remotely 2 or 3 days a week. Who employer do you think they will choose? For me, it's a no-brainer, right? So it helps us to attract talent, but also it helps us to make sure that our employees having a better work-life balance on a day-to-day basis. Now, here are just a few challenges we identified via white paper. And one of those challenges, if you see here, number 3, was lack of work-life balance. Now, I want to ask you guys, what kind of practices do you currently implement within your organization to promote a better work-life balance? I'd love to hear your thoughts, your own best practices. And if you can let me know in the comments below, that would be great. And in the meantime, I will move through the next slide and I'll read the comments towards the end. Now, the number 1 best practice I want to share with you has to do with taking a vacation and offering sabbaticals. According to Forbes, 47% of employees feel guilty for taking a vacation. And that was last summer, right? It was, for me, this is like super alarming, because that means that employees feeling guilty about taking vacations prevents them from returning to work feeling truly relaxed or refreshed, which as a result leads to ongoing burnout. So our best practice here that we have seen that works really well, and I highly recommend it, is just, as an intervention, try to reframe vacation time as productive rest, because that way you will help your employees to feel more confident in fully disconnecting from work. That's the number 1. Number 2, try to encourage your leaders within your organization to openly discuss the time they take off, and just to discuss this with their teams so they can actually normalize a healthy work-life balance. And the last tip, the last kind of hack I would like to share with you, many organizations we work with, what they actually do, if you can guys make sure you are on mute, I would really appreciate that. Just make sure that you are on mute. If you don't know how, happy to help with that. Okay, so the last tip that I've seen that works really well is announcing very early during the year, let's say early in 2025, just offer a limited time period where your employees can actually share whether and which days of the year they would like to take time off. Now, when you highly encourage them to book their holidays, to book their vacation early in the year, what happens is that they don't end up just, finding themselves in the middle of the summer, having very important meetings, client meetings booked on their calendar, and as a result, having those things prevent them from taking their time off, from taking their vacation. So better highly encourage them to book those days as early as possible, right? And send them the reminders so they do it before they get booked with other stuff. Now, about the sabbaticals, it's interesting because according to a recent report, what I have seen that works really well for companies which actually want to attract talent, and especially new talent, what they do is actually offer sabbaticals. And this is an amazing work-life balance kind of best practice. Why is that? Because actually extended time out from a job can boost our satisfaction and reduce turnover. Now, I want you to imagine when was the last time you switched jobs? You went from working from one organization to another. And I want you to recall, what were your satisfaction levels? And now, can you just think of how engaged, how excited, how energized you were at your new role in the first few weeks and months? So now what's interesting is that there are ways to mimic this effect without actually changing organizations or even jobs. And that is through doing things like sabbaticals. So organizations that offer this option will be clearly signaling to both prospective and current employees that they value their well-being and they value their development opportunities. So the next best practice, so we discussed about sabbaticals and encouraging time for rest and vacation. The next practice has to do with what work-life balance is all about. Now, to me, it's not just about time. Okay? For me, this has been a misconception, and I come across this misconception time and time again. Work-life balance for me, I feel like it's about having the mental capacity to be present at work, present with our loved ones, with our family, present, fully present. And I'm having so many conversations with HR leaders from many organizations. And what I hear is that employees say they spend their days being super busy, rushing from one meeting to the next, jumping on and off the phone, feeling drained from being bombarded by emails. So, and it's only at the end of the workday where they actually tend to realize that they haven't gotten to do any big things, any important things. And that makes them feel even more stressed and anxious. Many of them experience burnout because of that. Now, does it surprise you then, guys, that according to many, many studies, 1 in 3 employees in the UK admit to pretend productivity amidst always on culture and need for work-life balance. So 1 out of 3 actually pretend being super productive and super busy, but this is not real. It's just they pretend. So I want to share with you the 3 different categories of work. And when we run workshops for employees and we discuss about those 3 categories, many of them, they get surprised. So we ask them to list their day-to-day tasks under 3 categories. The one category is the real work, tasks and outcomes that create value for the organization and give them a sense of pride and meaning. Work around the work category is all about the emails, the meetings, some necessary, some not, that can consume entire days. And the last category is performance of work, is sending late night emails, or Slack messages, showing up at the office or online very early or staying very late, shaming those who take lunch breaks or themselves, they don't take lunch break outside the office. They give the appearance of being super productive business, but in reality, they're wrapped up in low value tasks. So when we ask them to list their day-to-day tasks under those three categories, not just for us to see, for them to realize how they spend their time on a day-to-day basis, 9 out of 10 times they get surprised. So one of the best practices that we have seen that works really well here to help them with better focus, prioritization, and time management is to run group workshops on time management, which can help them to learn how to get to have fewer meetings during the day, prioritize deep focus work early in the morning, provide structured mentorship guidelines, this is for the managers, and conduct regular check-ins, and how to have a better understanding of the difference between real work, work around the work, performance of work. Of course, the last thing is to learn how to set boundaries. The next best practice is for employees with a busy schedule and to help them optimize their time better with a mindset coach. So the previous best practice is group coaching, is group mentoring, is a group workshop thing. This is more personalized. So what we have seen is that 2/3 of employees in the UK feel unable to switch off from work and powerless to fully manage blurred work-life boundaries. So let's be honest. The reality for many of us as humans is that we have a really tough time estimating how much time and how much effort is needed to accomplish things. So, especially this applies to very busy employees. Getting a mindset coach, organizing once a week, every Thursday, for example, weekly drop-in sessions where you have a mindset coach helping them, providing them with some tools on how to avoid the urge to check work emails outside work hours, how to do more with less meetings, and other tools, day-to-day practices that they can implement so they can have a better work-life balance, but more like on a one-to-one level. We have seen that this is a game changer because then you invite and you actually show an action that you really care. You really care your employees to get a personalized support when it comes to the work-life balance. It's interesting because last time we ran this, we did a survey and we've seen that employees who did this personalized one-to-one coaching, they were able to take back 9 hours a week for themselves. That's a full day's work. And the reality is that when we change our mindset to view our time as our greatest currency, we change the way we do our day-to-day work too. So if you're curious to find out how we do it, I can talk about in further detail about those practices later on or on a one-to-one basis. The last thing I want to share with you is when a new employee wants to, just give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Okay. Okay, I'm going to sit here because anyway, we're going to end this webinar soon. But all I want to say is that when a new employee, we have a new prospective employee who is interested in joining our company, wants to join, wants to go on an interview, the first thing they do is they go on Glassdoor and look at what they see. First thing they do, they go on Glassdoor to check your company. And one of the very first pillars they check is work-life balance. So my suggestion is, as a company, it's really, really important, guys, you invest in well-being tech that promotes work-life balance. So to have a strong focus on staff well-being can have a direct impact on your success and their success too. So this can be a well-being app that can give your employees access to practices for better work-life balance, training, content, development courses, and that can help your employees on a group level, but also on a one-to-one level. Any questions? Sorry, it took us a little bit longer to end this presentation. Any questions at all? I can go over here. Any questions? You can also let me know in the comments below. Here again, you can download our white paper. So happy, you can just take a photo with your phone and you can just download via the QR code if you're interested. Here, you can find our upcoming events. So we organize one private event where there is a waiting list now because it's fully booked. And we have 2 webinars up until the end of the year. So you can actually book on our LinkedIn page, on our Oxus and LinkedIn page. Here we have just a few testimonials from previous clients. Oh, and also recently I published a journal planner mini book, which you can find on Amazon. And you can actually get the QR code, you can scan it right here, you can download the link, and then that leads you to the Amazon page and you can get it there. That's all for today, really. Any questions about any of the 4 practices I shared with you? Any questions at all? No? Okay, let me see in the chat. Remote sleeping. Oh, that's great. Thanks for sharing, Mark. Oh, that was really helpful. Thanks for sharing. Candid feedback, speaking up about issues and promoting psychological safety, that's the key. That's the key, creating a safe space within our organization where our employees feel safe to share or to ask for help. This is so important. Any questions? Anything you would like to discuss further? No, we're good. Awesome. So I really want to say big thanks for joining this webinar today. Feel free to contact me on my LinkedIn page. If you want to discuss anything, if you have any questions. And oh, thank you. Thank you. That's really lovely. Enjoyed it. Yeah, me too. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And of course, I will share with you the slides, the replay, and the white paper. But of course, if you need anything else, feel free to let me know. Thank you, Sarah. It was lovely to have you joining. So I will wish you a beautiful rest of the day. And I look forward to see you all on my next webinar next month. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks. Cheers.